Hey, it's Johnny Marks. Thank you so much for checking out the Marks in the Morning podcast. Remember, you can listen to myself, Carrie Mack, and JP weekdays from 6 to 10 live on K92.3.
Rise and shine. Get out of bed. It's time to get your day started. This is Marks in the Morning on K92.3.
Can I get a countdown?
3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's Friday. It's Marks in the Morning. It's 6:04, and let's just jump forward 11 hours. Quitting time, 5 o'clock. Maybe you get off at 4 o'clock. We're going to help you get there, whether it's us here, myself and Carrie Mack, Jess, Buddy, we're all here to help you out. Tasty Country Nights if you're working second shift. But hey, let's get excited about the weekend. I'm Johnny Marks. This is Carrie Mack. Carrie, how are you doing? Whoa, no hat today. What's going on?
I'm sorry, I wasn't feeling very hatful today.
On her head, because Carrie has to have something on her head every day, is her glasses.
Oh, yeah, I do have to have something on my head every day. Maybe I just don't like my scalp.
Yeah, well, I can relate. I'm getting closer and closer every time I look in the mirror to seeing it.
Maybe you should be wearing hats.
I love hats. I am a hat guy. I just can't do the headphone over hat thing. Mm-hmm. I love baseball hats. I have a nice fedora. I don't know what they're called. I call it, if you're familiar with not Jason Mraz. Gavin DeGraw.
Okay.
Gavin DeGraw, not Jason Derulo. Gavin DeGraw, who has done some country work. He's a cool guy. I had a chance to meet him a few years ago. Fell in love with his hat.
Okay.
I did. I fell in love with his hat. And so I have one just like that. I don't know how to describe it. Like a cabbie hat almost, but not quite. I don't know. Next time you've been over, I'll show you my hat collection. There's like 4 hats. It's not really a collection. But I don't wear them to work. Not so much because they're not work attire, but because I have the headphones.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll start now because you're a hat-y. Is that what you call somebody who loves hats? A hattie?
Yes. I believe in the hat community, it's called hattie.
Okay. Well, you're a hattie. And I'm like a has-been, or a hats-been. So I'll get into the hats again, and then I'll be a hats-is, and you're a hattie, and I'll move up the ranks. I have no idea what we're talking about. But, hey, it's Friday. It's the kind of stuff you talk about on a Friday, right?
Yeah.
Gender Bender's coming up at 7:35. Your last chance this week to win a Mud and Honey gift card. One of our favorite Gender Bender sponsors, Mud and Honey. They got something for everybody. We'll chat more about them when we get closer. We'll tell you about next week's Gender Bender sponsor, too. I don't have a not favorite sponsor, but I'm going to say this now at 6:06. My 2 favorite Gender Bender sponsors back to back. Mud and Honey and the fellas and ladies we got next week. So we'll get into that. Also on the show today, we'll have our last Carrie's Corner. That's coming up here in about 35 minutes. That's where Carrie teaches us a word of the day. Got random facts and so much. It's Friday morning. I always act like a kid Friday because it's exciting. It's the start of the weekend. Carrie and I getting ready for a couple of days off. You know, we were on, well, I don't know if you were on. I was on a call with the other members of our family, our extended family in other states, other cities, other markets. And we were all talking about the very near future, and that is the excitement around the end of the pandemic. Now, it's not just going to be like Thursday, okay, pandemic, Friday, it's over. But, you know, it does feel like, and I'm not trying to be overly optimistic, but it does feel like it's winding down. You know, here in K-Country, we've got big country concerts coming in and around Iowa with Lee Bryce in just a couple of weeks. We have our interview, by the way, with him on the K92.3 app from yesterday. Eli Young Band, Justin Moore is going to be at one of the big fairs, Buchanan County Fair, later this summer, and many, many others. Gary Allen, Sarah Evans. The feeling was April. Everybody's talking about, which in business terms is like the start of the next quarter, second quarter of the year, and a more normal summer. Normal is a weird word, and it might vary state to state. You know, maybe here in where we are in Black Hawk County might be a little different than Bremer, might be a little different than Chickasaw, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, it feels like people are getting ready for what should be an exciting spring and more exciting summer. So I guess what I'm saying is these weekends where, you know, we do our weekend in 5 photos. I always feel bad because I'm at home most of it. Well, for one thing, it's the weather too, although that's going to be a little nicer this weekend, especially Saturday. But I think pretty soon you're going to need to get your rest during the week because we're going to have some fun, busy weekends. Busy for us is entertainment for others. So, like, you know, it could be a parade. It could be on a Friday night. It could be a Friday Lou right here in Waterloo. It could be anything. Any number of town festivals, summer especially. Of course, we've got Ragbri, which will roll through in late July, right through Waterloo this year. Always a party, but this year coming right to our front door. So I guess I'm saying rest up because these weekends where you and I are like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? They're going to be replaced with, hey, I'll see you this weekend at X. At least I'm going to be optimistic about that because we lost out on a lot of that last summer.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've been here for almost 2 months now, and my weekends, while they're great to just chill out and enjoy time by myself, I'm looking forward to not having to eat an entire pizza by myself.
See, and I would miss that. That I wouldn't want to give up. One good thing is terrible. The pandemic's been terrible. We've lost a lot of lives. We've had families torn apart by it. But if you look at a personal level, one of the things that's been nice, I think, for somebody like you is you'll have a chance to kind of explore before you're like, okay, you're going to this or that event, which you know nothing about, rightfully so. But now you have a chance to, especially as we lose snow and the spring starts to hopefully stay on track here and show up next month like it's supposed to, you'll be able to see the Cedar Valley and understand some of these things when you go to those events. So I'm super excited. I hope a lot of people are. I hope you have a lot to look forward to. You know, I'll jump even further into the summer. Irish Fest, which we lost last year. That's a great event. So lots to look forward to. Let's. I don't even think we need to really keep our fingers crossed. Let's just stay on track. Now, speaking of the last few months, going backwards instead of forwards, when we were doing the quarantine thing, or when we were spending a lot more time at home, what did we give up in Iowa? What were we giving up? What do you think, Carrie? Were Iowans more likely to give up clean clothes, washing hair, using deodorant, for women wearing makeup? What do you think we gave up the most of all of the, I don't want to say vanity, because showering is about a lot more than vanity, but you get the idea. The public face thing. What do you think we gave up the most?
I think there were times when I gave up deodorant for like a week or two during quarantine. And makeup, definitely for women. I have been very lucky because I got this job, so I have to wear makeup almost every single day. But during quarantine, I'd be lucky if I put on makeup once a week. And my skin was glowing, by the way. It was glowing.
You didn't need it. I didn't know you back then.
Exactly. But we didn't need it because we weren't interacting with people. Deodorant, stinking up the place wasn't a problem because you had no one else to stink up the place with.
Well, I gave up pants, but that didn't make the list. I'll tell you the top things Iowans gave up during the heat of the pandemic.
Your random facts.
So what are Iowans giving up, or did we give up when we were at home a lot more? I hesitate to say quarantine. A lot of people use the word quarantine to describe what we were doing last year, but we weren't really, I don't know, maybe some people were, but a lot of people were still out and about. But anyways, according to a new survey, Iowans gave up makeup more than anything else. 63% of people, more probably women, who put on makeup before did it less during the pandemic, and many still admit, because the study asked about present day, they still aren't putting either as much on or hardly any. And you had kind of hinted at that a couple songs ago.
Yeah, because when you go out and you wear makeup mostly for other people, let's be honest. The reason I wear makeup is so you guys don't see me and you're like, ooh, the snaggletooth? Who's that?
Makeup's not going to hide that.
No, but a lot of the times women feel like they have to wear makeup for other people, so that makes sense. And the fact that they're not going out and seeing as many people, that correlates to not wearing as much makeup.
Hannah had told me, she's like, I haven't put on lipstick in forever. And I can't remember why she did. Sometime last week she was wearing it, I think because she had an important work meeting.
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, with masks and whatnot, nobody would know. And they would probably get all over your mask.
What's the point in wearing lipstick when you have to put on a mask? Every single morning I put on some lipstick and it just comes off right on my mask and I get so mad.
By the way, you had a nice Steve Madden mask yesterday, I noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Designer mask.
Thank you. I got it from TJ Maxx.
I've heard of them. Styling your hair. More people say they stopped entirely or are doing it less now. Number 3 on the list was wearing a bra. I gave that up, forever ago. Number 4 was putting on clean clothes every day. These are things people did less when quarantine was really impactful and still have maintained as things are easing up. And then number 5, this one's kind of a little gnarly, washing your hair.
That happened to me. I went like 4 days without washing my hair.
What did you find in there when you finally did wash it? Was there like a colony of rabbits living in there?
No, there was a colony of lost fleas, I feel like. No, but my hair got really nice after, actually, because you're not supposed to wash it every single day.
I've heard that. I've heard that you're not supposed to wash it every day. My routine is I will wash my hair every other day. Mm-hmm. And when I take a shower, there are just days I don't wash my hair. I'll get it wet, run my hands through it, clean it up. But there are days I don't wash it when I'm still taking a full shower. Saves a good amount of time. And
Yeah, it
that's
does.
for me. I can only imagine with 8 times the hair, it saves a ton of time to not wash it every day. Let me ask, though, and that was the last one on the study, but when you skip washing your hair, but you're still taking a shower, do you get it wet? Do you still feel like you have to do at least that, get some water in there, clean it up a little, or do you just try to stay, what you'd call a top-down shower?
I try to stay away from the water when I'm not washing it. My ends get a little bit wet, so I come out looking a little bit sweaty. But overall, I don't like washing my hair when I'm not putting shampoo and conditioner in it. Fun fact.
Using deodorant was down. This was a top 5, but if you expand it, deodorant, brushing teeth, and others were lessened, but under 10%.
Brushing teeth, that's just basic dental hygiene.
You need to do that for your own health, not so much for other people.
And if you live with someone?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good example to set for the kids, too. All right, back in just a couple minutes with news and weather. It's Mark's in the Morning. As the show rolls on, we'll get to something like that. The song from Tim McGraw. Coming up. Our last Carrie's Corner.
Intelligence, aptitude. Where's my thesaurus? Percipience. This is Carrie's Corner on Mark's in the Morning.
This has been fun, an educational trip through the month of February, where every day, and sorry we gave it the shortest month, but every day we've learned a new word, and a couple of them have been absolute knockouts, and a couple other ones we were trying to figure out the pronunciation.
That's half the fun.
What was yesterday's again? It was like something...
it's
about
penultimate.
Yes, penultimate, thank you. Where yesterday was the penultimate to the weekend because it meant like 2 days before or the day before something.
You see why I did that. It was the penultimate Carrie's Corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I planned this.
What's today's word, Carrie?
This one I feel like will stick with you for a long time. It is scattergood.
Scattergood, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you use it in a sentence? I think I might have an idea of what this one means.
Yeah, I'm a huge scattergood when it comes to buying stuff by Kelly Clarkson. I just spend all my money.
So scattergood would be like something you're a big fan of, something you're very into, something that you feel is on brand to your brand.
No, it's a person who spends possessions or money extravagantly or wastefully. Spendthrift.
Oh. So you spend a ton of money on stuff from Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, all of her albums I have a bunch of posters, all of that. If she had an action figure, I would buy it.
I'm surprised, and maybe you did because you can't talk about it due to your MDA, but you were on last week. You were part of the audience for The Voice.
Yes, I was.
I'm surprised you didn't just start screaming, Kelly Clarkson, I love you, because you were told, you said one of the few things you could talk about your NDA didn't cover was you had to keep your mic on so that people could hear your reaction because there's no physical live audience. So if you had started screaming, Kelly Clarkson, I wonder how quick it would have taken them to mute you and then boot you out of the taping.
Very quickly. This is it was my second time seeing Kelly Clarkson digitally, but I've seen her 7 times in total, like concerts and that. So that's super cool.
Well, you could do a lot worse, that's for sure, when it comes to superstars. And I could do a lot better when it came to your words of the day. Between me and JP on the days he was here, we didn't get very many right. Nuggetory was a good one.
You still use it all the time.
I don't remember what it means, but I'll keep using it. We'll be back with Nashville news in just a few minutes. I have it on good authority that today's Nashville News Minute is about something from this show yesterday. So I'm excited to hear it. We're also going to hear Parmalee's new song with Blanco Brown, Just the Way. Is that your theme song for the weekend, Carrie?
It's my theme song for every single night of my life.
I mean, it is, it's healthy, right? A glass of wine, I've heard, is good for your heart.
Red wine is supposed to be good for you.
Now, it's when you have the whole bottle, or there's a hole in the bottle, and more of it ends up in your mouth than maybe it should. That's when it maybe isn't so healthy.
Maybe. When it starts to spin, that's not a good sign.
When the room is spinning, you know that's not a good sign. You're like, at least it's for my heart. Yesterday, Carrie and I and a couple other coworkers, we haven't done anything like this since last summer, but we went out, we got a couple of brewskis. We went to single speed down here in Waterloo, which is nice. Before the Iowa Hawkeyes game, which we have a guy down the hall. His name is Sean. He's obsessed with the Hawkeyes. Mm-hmm. He's also a Packers fan, and so it's been a rough couple months. And so last night when I was watching, I don't have the network that it was on, the channel, but I was keeping up with the game on my phone, and it was not a pretty game for Iowa. They battled Michigan. And I was just thinking, I bet Sean's drinking a lot more than when we saw him drink when we were at Single Speed. He had one beer, and then he had to split because he wanted to get to his TV, to his man cave to watch the game.
Mm-hmm. There was a hole in the bottom of his can of beer, probably.
Yeah. The Wolverines really did a number on the Hawkeyes, 79-57.
Ooh.
It was an ugly game. For other reasons, too. You can check out more on it. It's like our first or second story on the K92.3 app. But again, I like the Hawkeyes, and I'll root for the Hawkeyes. I'll root for the Cyclones, too. My father-in-law went to Iowa State, and, I kind of adopted that. And, of course, the Panthers. I'm not really a homer for any one college in any period. But I did feel for him. And, of course, rooting for the Hawkeyes. I don't have any loyalty to Michigan. And it would have been an upset had the Hawkeyes won. So I was keeping up with that game thinking, oh, poor guy. So if you see him today, Kara, when you see him, well, of course, we'll see him. He'll be here probably in an hour or two. Just be nice. Mm-hmm. I know we wear masks in the hallway here, but smile. He'll see it in your eyes. And you'll see it in his that he's not a happy camper.
I would give him a hug, but we can't give hugs for two reasons. Number one, it's work. Number two, COVID. Yeah,
I know. Did you ever have, in any setting, maybe it was college, or maybe a job. I mean, did you ever have the hugger that would just hug people? Or did you know anybody that would, most people it's a handshake pre-COVID. But I'm sure every group has the hugger, whether it takes a drink or two to get the hugging out or they just hug. Do you ever have that coworker?
Yeah, and that person's me. I'm a huge hugger. It's a problem. COVID, I think, is a blessing for everyone I work with so they don't have to hug me. I don't go up to if I met Bill Gates, I wouldn't be like, "How you doing, bud?" and give him a pat on the back
I'd
or
like
something.
to smack him in the head for his last couple of Windows updates, but that's just me.
But if I'm close with you and I know what's going on, I would give you a hug. And some of my friends don't like it at all. I'm a cuddle monster.
Well, there's a big step. Hug. Cuddle would be like you hug a coworker, then you take him to the floor and keep the hug on. That'd be a cuddle monster.
No, but I'm just such a hugger. It's so bad. I'm like a huge teddy bear. I give great hugs, though. I will not give anyone a hug right now.
No. All right. If you do, skyscrapers here.
No, thank you.
It'd be like hugging a tree. He's very tall. And I'm just not much taller than you, but tall enough that it would really be like hugging a tree for you. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll get back. We'll follow up on that. Carrie Mack and her adventures in hugging immediately after she gets that COVID vaccine. Genius Awards at 7:15 this morning on Mark Cedar Valley's #1 for New Country, and a happy Friday to you. Here's an exciting story as we edge, I hope, students start sprinting out of the pandemic. We got a new restaurant in Cedar Falls to look forward to. It's going to be actually up in your neck of the woods there, Carrie, off Main Street on East 4th Street. A new restaurant. That'd be right next to Derringer's across the street from Whiskey Road. There's the Made Right over there. It's an indoor-outdoor restaurant coming in that former warehouse space. Right now, I think it's best known as where Santa Claus hangs out.
Oh, yes. I know where that is.
Yeah. I'm sure you like to go for your walks out in that area. It's
my walks like I'm a 45-year-old woman.
Well, I met you. The one time I met you down in downtown Cedar Falls, what were we doing off Main? We went to Roxy's.
Yeah.
And you were out for a walk. I saw you coming down the street. I'm like, well, I like to drive.
I came from the opposite direction where I was staying, too.
It was fun because Carrie didn't see me. It was pretty early when you just started. You probably didn't know what I drove. But I was watching you because I just pulled into I had a killer parking spot. When you have a killer parking spot, especially on Main Street, you want to sit there in your car for a while and look around so people can see you. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that guy. And so I did. And then there's Carrie Mack. I was a couple minutes early, too. That's another reason why I was creepily sitting in my car. And I was waiting for us to make eye contact. Nope, you just walked right by me, went right into the store or into the restaurant.
I'm very focused on my destination, especially when it comes to drinks.
Apparently. Anyways, more on this restaurant coming up here. I'll get this on the K92.3 app. It's going to be called Stone and Terrace Restaurant, indoor-outdoor. Obviously, when the season's right, indoor restaurant. But it's where Santa's workshop is. Don't worry, they have a plan to move Santa, so he'll still have a place to be around Christmas time. More on that, again, coming on the K92.3 app. Something to look forward to. All right, Genius Awards. Nominate yourself, nominate somebody else. What's a Genius Award? It's when we celebrate life's little foibles. Yeah. You've done something dumb. They've done something dumb. It's okay. Let's celebrate it. We'll give out a fictitious Genius Award here on the radio. Carrie, is there anything you want to nominate somebody for, even if it's yourself?
Yes, and I've been saving this for this very moment, actually. I went grocery shopping the other day, and when they were taking my car, we were finishing up. I said, thank you. She said, thank you. I said, I love you. I said, I love you.
You said you love you. You said, I love you to a random employee at a store.
Haven't you done that when you're like checking out or you're just randomly going about your day? Like you don't accidentally say love you. Like,
No.
Because
you're a hugger, a cuddler, and a lover. All in one. You sound like a Miranda Lambert song.
I am a Miranda Lambert song. No, but I don't go up to people and tell them I love them, but it happens sometimes. It slips out. I don't mean it. It's like when you're talking to your parents, your wife, and you're parting ways. You say goodbye, I love you.
Yeah. Of course.
I got into the habit of that, so I guess I said it to this woman.
Well, now I'm offended. I haven't heard it yet. Do you love JP? Is that it? You give it to JP? I'll see you later when he leaves the studio. I love you.
I tell him I miss him.
Yeah.
That's not the same.
He just laughs. He goes,
I think I make him feel awkward.
That is funny. You must have been the gal when you were just a little girl who told the teacher, you called the teacher mom or
yes,
dad?
I did.
Did you? I knew it.
Don't embarrass me.
Well.
Oh my gosh, I was that kid. I honestly did love my teachers, but not as much as my mom. Haven't you called someone mom?
I've called a teacher mom, of course, but I don't ever remember saying, I love you.
Not I love you, but more like love you.
You know, it'd be the worst is to say to a teacher is I love you, mom. It's a real double whammy. Teacher's going to be really conflicted.
A double mammy.
Especially if it's a dude, you know. Mr. B, I love you, mom.
I love you, mom.
There's going to be all sorts of questions asked during parent-teacher conferences. All right, well, you definitely deserve a Genius Award for that one, my friend. I am nominating myself for a Genius Award because I have, at our house inside of our garage, we keep our recycling. And like most in the Cedar Valley, we don't have a recycling service, so we have to drive it every couple of weeks. We go up by UNI. There's the recycling. All the bins are there up by Jay's Homestyle Cooking. This is from last week. We have since taken the recycling out. But since we've done a Genius Award, I pulled into the garage one of those uber cold days or nights or whatever. We have a lot of recycling because we don't go every week, especially in the winter. So it was stacked up, mostly boxes and such, either getting Amazon boxes. I think it was a lot of, because Hannah's gone a lot. So I get a lot of these frozen pizzas with the non-dairy or the light dairy. And they're big boxes, so they stack up. So I stick them in the garage. Well, one of the days I opened my car door, forgetting I was in a very tight space, and I hit the recycling containers, which sit on a very light shelf, just a small wooden shelf, and knocked all of the recycling, including the glass bottles. Luckily, nothing broke. All like on top of me because it had nowhere to fall. It was up against the wall.
Were you in your car or were you exiting your...
I was trying to exit. So I'd opened the door and I was stepping out. I hit it. So it started to shake. And then as I got out, it all started to fall. So it hit me on the car. Nothing broke. It was just a pain in the butt. I had to clean it all up. A lot of profanity was uttered by yours truly.
I think that's a sign for you to stop eating frozen pizzas.
I think it's a sign for me to stop opening my car door so fast. I've done it before, and a couple months ago, maybe must have been before we were doing the Genius Awards, maybe even before you started, I parked at Hy-Vee by a cart rack. So it wasn't another car, but I parked where I was next to the cart rack. Some people try to avoid that. I like it because I can just drop my cart off and go, and I know there won't be somebody on my left or right, depending on which side. Opened my door and hit the cart rack, the big metal container. Didn't see it because it wasn't in my line of sight. Boom.
You are very aggressive when it comes to entering and exiting your car, I've noticed. You slam your car doors and it terrifies me.
What? What do you mean? How often have you been in a car with me?
I've been in the car with you twice, but you and I have a few times we've left work at the same time. So I hear you when you close your car door and it's like a big slam. And because of the acoustics in the parking garage, it's like boom.
You know what I do? And I'm the first or second person here every day. And I will normally, because of it's cold, because of the winter, because whatever, I have to close my door harder than normal. Mm-hmm. And so I will close my door very loudly. And I feel, for some reason, every day I seem to forget that it reverberates throughout the parking garage. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I am an aggressive, you know what? I'm a slammer.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. I'm a lover. You're a slammer.
I'm a slammer and a spammer. I send a lot of emails.
You do?
All right, it's Marks in the Morning. We'll get this on Facebook for you to submit a Genius Awards. We got a couple in here. We're going to get to Gender Bender, by the way, in 10 minutes. So I want to get Dave on the phone. We have Dave on the phone. I want to get him on the air here. He was just telling us, you do what for a living? And then tell us your Genius Award.
Oh, I'm over-the-road deliverer, goods and services. Anyway, my pump went bad on my fuel cell that's in the back of my tank, so I have a hose.
Yeah.
I went to siphon, and I drank a good chug of it.
Oh,
man, up the nose and everything. Trucker was sitting next to me laughing because I'm just a four-wheel drive unit.
I have to know, how does fuel taste?
Oh, dude, it's nasty when it gets into your nose and everything. Oh, it tastes like gas, man. It tastes like it smells. What the hell do you mean, what's it taste like?
Dave, thank you. I think he needs a hug, Carrie. You're a hugger. Go ahead and help Dave out there.
I'll tell him I love him.
Yeah. Probably a few more brain cells knocked out of the old head than just a big old beer would do, but thank you. All right. Also, here's one message from Callista. She says, I feel that, Carrie. Now, she's referring to your I love you that you
Yeah.
slipped. What was it? Where were you again? You were grocery shopping?
Yeah, I was grocery shopping. I sent it to the checkout lady.
And so Callista says, especially when I'm dropping someone off, never actually said it, but almost caught myself doing it. So apparently you're not the only one, although in her case, it almost happened. In your case, it seemed to be a bodily function.
I just exude love and hugs. I'm a Care Bear. I'm a Carrie Bear.
You've had several issues with your neighbor. Maybe just slipping him an I love you would just soothe things over.
I feel like it's different with people who are around my age.
Or people you really genuinely don't care for.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope he's not awake. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes with your chance to win a big prize. From Mud and Honey, we call it Gender Bender. We have 18 wins for the ladies on the year, 16 for the guys. Good luck in advance.
She's ready. He's ready. Are you ready? It's time to play Gender Bender on Marks in the Morning. Hey, Johnny Marks, who are our contestants today?
This morning, for our Friday edition of Gender Bender, on line 1, we have Angie. She's calling in from Waterloo. Angie, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Very good. So glad to hear that. You're ready to roll. Your opponent, Andrew, are you calling from Garnavillo? Is that right?
That is correct.
I don't think we've had anybody from Garnavillo call in. I don't think anybody west of Alcater has called in. Is that still the 563 area code up there? It's got to be, right?
Yes, that it is.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck to both of you. Let me go over the rules here very quick. It's a pretty easy game, at least in concept. You'll each get 3 questions aimed at the opposite gender, and of course, the better score will get the win. But we do have a tiebreaker we've had to use now a couple times this week to determine a winner if we have the same number correct after the game is done. Angie, you got in right away this morning, so you decide who goes first, you or Andrew.
I'm going to go ahead and go first.
All right, let's do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Andrew, stand by. Carrie, you'll have your questions next. Here we go, Angie. I'll start you off with question number 1 about a superhero. Which superhero is his weakness is kryptonite? Who is he?
Superman?
Yeah. Superman's weakness is kryptonite, although Lois Lane should be right up there because she seems to get him in trouble. Question number 2. Are Grand Prix auto races held on oval tracks or road courses? The Grand Prix auto races, oval tracks or road courses?
Road races.
Yeah, that's right. They're held on road courses. Let's move on to question number 3. You get this one right, Angie. You are a big perfect score. I was going to say winner. We don't know yet, but you'll get the perfect score. Question number 3. February 28th is the last day of the month. It's coming up on Saturday. No leap year this year. How many years do we have leap years? Once every how many years do we have a leap year?
Once every 4 years.
It is every 4 years. Very nice. Yeah. Last year, 2020, was a leap year because we needed an extra day last year. That was really important to everybody. All right, that's a perfect score, Angie. It doesn't mean doom and gloom, though, for Andrew. If he gets a perfect score, we'll treat it like we start over with a tiebreaker. Good luck.
So, Andrew, when you're doing your laundry, what do you put in a load of whites to help whiten and brighten your clothes?
You say, what do you put in with it?
Yeah, what do you put in with it? Like liquid laundry aid. Yes, bleach.
Yeah.
Better than baking soda. That's what you put on your teeth to whiten them. Bleach, don't get those confused.
Yeah,
Very
I tried
bad.
that once. It was really good.
You didn't talk for days.
So, what is the traditional gift for a 60th wedding anniversary? Platinum or diamonds?
I'm going with platinum.
It's diamonds.
Is it?
Ah,
Platinum? When is platinum then? Platinum sounds expensive.
70?
No, must
Yeah.
must be. All right, well, hey, why don't you give a shot here at the last one anyways? It's still kind of fun to get a 2 out of 3, not a bad score.
Okay, Andrew, this Sunday is the Golden Globes. There are 2 women hosting. Can you name one of them?
Carrie Underwood? No, I don't know.
No, I wish you would.
yeah.
That would be really good. It was Amy Poehler or Tina Fey.
Oh, they're back?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who was it? Wasn't it Ricky Gervais? He got in all sorts of trouble again. They always have him, and then he gets in trouble. Then they take him away. Then he'll be back in like 2 years. But
Yeah.
not this year. All right.
Exactly.
Well, our winner this morning is Angie, and I wouldn't feel bad, Andrew. Those perfect scores are hard to beat. I mean, you can tie them, but they're really hard, especially when they go first. But you can call us back. We'll play again next week, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, Andrew. We appreciate it. Andrew is breaking down the Garnavello city wall, I guess. We've never had anybody from there call in before. Congratulations, Angie. You're a big winner this morning. Got any big plans for the weekend?
Nope, just some grad class work, and that's about it.
So when do you graduate?
I'm working on a doctorate degree, so in about 3 years.
All right, good for you. I'm still looking for I've got a BS, but it's not in. It's just literally BS. Well, that's awesome. Hang on the line. We'll get you a Mud and Honey gift card. You can treat yourself to something nice. And by the way, Gender Bender's back on Monday with a Jay's Homestyle Cooking gift card all next week. JP not with us this morning. He'll be in after 9. That's why normally we do Dad Joke 101. This is the second Friday James has actually had his kids in the morning, so that's why he's not on with us. Last week, we had intern Skyscraper and Carrie Mack trying to impress me, but we thought rather than do that, we'll just push it back until James is here. So that's why we're not doing that right now. But instead, this is a good time for us to get a caller on the show that we're not going to name. And I think you'll understand why when you hear her story in a moment. But what we know of it is that there's been an incident that's being hidden from a member of the family. We're pretty sure it's her spouse. You can help her out. She's calling in for advice. And again, we're not going to give her name. We'll have her patched through here on Marks in the Morning. For advice in advance, let me give you our info here. You can't call right now because we're going to have her on the air, but you can message us on the K92.3 app. And then, Carrie, you have the gist of her story. You have this posted on Facebook, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and we'll fill in any details, or she probably will, that we need. But welcome to Marks in the Morning. Hello.
Oh, hi. Well, first of all, I really appreciate you taking the call. I love your show, and thanks so much for taking the call. I have a 16-year-old, and he was involved in a car accident last week, and it was very cold, obviously, and the roads were crazy. It was super icy, and here's the problem. I mean, well, the whole thing is a problem, obviously, but he's 16, and this is his second wreck in less than 3 months. Uh-oh. And, to protect him, and I'm just like, I lied to my husband, and I said that I was in the crash last week. Yes. And here's the problem. My husband has previously threatened no more driving until he turns 18 if he crashes again, which is why I said that I crashed the car last week and not my son. And I just feel so guilty. I would hate lying to my husband. So I feel really stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. And I was going to see if you guys had any advice.
First of all, I'm glad he's okay. I was really worried when you called and said he was in an accident. It was something else. I've got to ask because I'm an only child, more or less. Is your son an only child?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and listen. I'm sure I'm overprotective. I don't know if your parents were overprotective because you're an only son. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, and I just feel like maybe I'm going too far. I don't know. Did your parents go too far?
Well, the thing with my folks is my parents were divorced. So as a kid, my mom would be overly protective at times. And I feel, and I love her to death, but I would say this to her, I feel she would be overly protective when she could leverage that against my father. Like, oh, you took him where? You did what? But that said, I think the situation where you've lied to your spouse, look, I'm no marriage expert. I am married. I don't have kids. Carrie's obviously in a different stage in her life, and you can tell me if you think I'm way off, Carrie, but that's a big one. And I know your son is probably a really good guy, and he made a couple mistakes. God knows the weather's not been great, but Your husband and you obviously got to tag team this whole kid thing, even after he turns 18. I don't think you want to go on with this lie.
Yeah. I am. I mean, clearly, like, I'm so uncomfortable every day. Like, I feel like it just gets worse and worse. It's like another day where I'm withholding the truth, and it just feels so bad. But at the same time, like, I literally am worried that he's going to throw my son out. Do you know what I mean? Like, our son. I know. I'm worried he's literally going to throw him out of the house. And that I could not take.
It must be tough because he's like your baby. He's your baby boy. So I can imagine the means you would go to protect him. My question for you is he a good kid? Like, I know you said he's gotten into an accident twice in the last 3 months. It seems like he has a really bad track record. Maybe it should be on him to learn the lesson so he doesn't do this in the future.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, as far as he's great. He's amazing. Like, oh my God, he's an amazing kid. And he just might not be that good of a driver. You know what I mean? Like, he's the new driver.
Yeah. What I think.
Yeah, even more than that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, and thank you. What I think is two things here. Number one, I feel, hear a lot of my childhood because I'm an only child, more or less. I do have two sisters. God bless them, but they came around a lot later. And for my mom, they have no connection because my dad's remarried. And for the first, I never had issues with driving per se, but for the first 15, 20 years of my life, when I went from kid to adult, I did have a very doting mom. I still do. And a more, not strict, because my dad's not strict. That's not the way to describe it, but definitely more stern. Mm-hmm. If there was one who would spank or punish, it would be my dad. And I don't have any memories of him ever remotely going too far. Don't get me wrong. But if this was my family, it would be my dad saying, that's it, if they were still married. No more driving for a year. So I can kind of put myself in the position a little bit. But I get the impression there might be a little more going on. Like, you sound like you're an overly doting mom to a certain extent. In fact, that's what our first couple messages here are saying on our K92.3 app. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you go so you can go check out the Facebook page and keep listening, and we'll talk to others and try to get some advice for you. Okay, Mom?
Yeah, well, I so appreciate that. And really, any and all advice is so welcome because I have just been like totally, kind of feeling stuck. So I really appreciate you, opening up the conversation. And any wisdom is welcome. So thank you.
You're a chatter. I love it. Hang on for just a second. I wish we had 20 more minutes to talk to you because I'm sure there's probably more going on. What do you think? What do you think Mom should do here? And again, we're not going to give her name, but what do you think she should do? I'm going to say it again. Don't keep secrets. All right? Carrie, any parting words here?
I'm thinking about this from the position of the kid.
Yeah.
If the dad finds out, maybe it's like that old phrase, the cover up is worse than the crime.
Ah, yeah.
So I feel like in my own personal life, if I was hiding stuff from my parents and they found out about it and I was lying about it, ooh, that's so much worse than any insurance or issues with the car.
Yeah, and now it's twofold with Mom hiding it and the kid hiding it. I didn't even think about that. You're right. They're both hiding it. All right, in Rocks in the Morning. That's Jake Owen, by the way, Homemade. Right before that, T-Rat, Thomas Rhett, what's your country song? Thomas Rhett up for ACM Award. You can see all the ACM nominees on the K92.3 app. More info, and we'll have some more info for you here, too, during our Nashville News Minute. So moments ago, we had a mom on the air. No name given, no name needed. She is covering for her son, who's 16. He was recently involved in his second car crash in what she said about 2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm. And after the first one, her husband had said, son, you get into another wreck, you don't drive till you're 18, which is a couple years from now. Mom doesn't agree with that. Mom is hiding the fact that there was a second accident by taking the blame for it. And that has triggered a ton of responses. Our K92.3 app lit up with a lot of people calling her overprotective, especially as she was going on and on about how great a kid he is. And I don't doubt that he's a great kid. He's maybe just a lousy driver. Winter isn't a great time to learn how to drive. He's only 16. He obviously isn't a pro yet. But let's, before we get to our Facebook post, we've had Matt eager to give some input on his thoughts. Matt, what do you think she should do?
Hey, yeah, I was trying to listen to that lady.
Yeah.
I guess my advice to her would be her and her husband have to have united front on everything. if you can't start putting the kid in the middle and mom protected dad. Granted, dad's reasoning was a little harsh of no driving till he's 18 because the kid's not going to learn without doing.
Right.
So telling him not to do it for 2 years isn't teaching him how to drive. The mom, on the other hand, too, I've heard from many, many times and many people, your kids are not your friends. You're there to teach them and raise them, not to be their friend. They don't learn by you being a friend. And by you taking the blame and letting them get away with this isn't teaching them lifelong lessons either of being responsible and taking responsibility for your mistakes.
That's a good angle. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah.
So in another 20, 30 years, when he starts really screwing up, stealing, whatever it happens to be, what excuses are you going to make or is the kid going to make because you taught him not to have to be responsible for his incorrect action?
He's always going to blame the mom in the end because she's the one who's been protecting him for so long and hasn't given him the opportunity to really try and fail so he could actually learn from his mistakes. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your call, Matt. Definitely, you're right. Absolutely right. I can't find any fault in anything you said or any disagreement. I'm going to say thank you for your call, and we'll move on to Facebook. Do you have our Facebook up? I know.
Yes, I do.
I took a glance, and some people are writing long paragraphs.
Yes,
a lot of people have an opinion. And by the way, we've told you heard us do it. We told our caller to go check the Facebook too. So your posts are not going to go unnoticed. What's the consensus, Carrie?
So the consensus seems to be that they want her to tell the truth to her husband, obviously. Our friend Marcy on Facebook said, you should tell him you married him for better or worse and will spend the rest of your life with him. The kids move out and on with their lives.
Yeah, in a couple years, he's going to be out of the house probably. He's on that trajectory. When he turns 18, I'm sure he's going to want to move or he'll go off to school. He might literally go off, be far away.
Yep.
I want to play. I feel like I should pull up a helicopter sound effect because I'm a little concerned that our unnamed mom might be a bit of a helicopter parent. Not necessarily in this case, although taking the blame for a car accident is a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. But, what if he does move on? Like, let's say he goes to even Nebraska. It's far enough away. He's not going to be home that night, any night. He'd have to drive quite a ways. You're going to go with him? You can't fight all his battles. And if you're fighting a battle for him against a fellow parent, I don't know. I'm still hung up on that. I still think there's a bigger issue. But
yeah, people on Facebook are also noticing that this seems to be a problem. Yeah. Our friend Rachel said, I firmly believe in honesty in a marriage, but she needs to explain that she won't stand for him making these ultimatums. They need to come up with a punishment together. It seems like they need to really join forces, tag team, and decide how they're going to deal with this.
Maybe this kid's just a poor driver in the winter like so many are. So many people are, and accidents happen too in a very short period of time. It's a bit concerning, but it's not like he's out there, committing felonies. I mean,
the thing with this is it could really spiral because I know people, and I'm definitely one of those people who was an irresponsible driver when I started driving. And every time I continued doing, when I was driving badly, I just picked up worse and worse habits. So I feel like he should really be kind of maybe put on the right path, no pun intended for drivers, but someone needs to sit down and tell him or take him to a driver's ed course.
And kind of what Matt said, too, it could get worse. I mean, there could be. If the son realizes that his mom is going to do this and cover for him, then he really could keep pulling stuff. You know what? We don't have time to get into it today, but I'd love to hear more. Not only you, Carrie, but I have a few things that I've hid from my parents over the years. They didn't hide together. I don't think. Again, my parents are divorced. I'm sure there were things they just didn't share with each other because they weren't on great speaking terms. But I would love to hear, maybe Monday we could talk about this, the worst thing you ever hid from a parent. Because I think that's interesting. But in the meanwhile, I would love for you to give our caller feedback on our Facebook page. We're going to move things over there because we've got to move on the radio. Got your history lesson next on Marks in the Morning, and we'll get some current history, some current events with Elwin, our news director, and Rebecca Kopelman next. Hang on. It is award season, and K92.3 has teamed up with our other Town Square Media sister stations here in Waterloo to present the first ever Townie Awards. And Carrie Mack's new to the Cedar Valley. You are very excited about these awards. I can just tell.
I'm so excited. We have so many really cool businesses. We have Lincoln Perk, Hurling Hatchet, Pivo, Single Speed, Main Street Sweets.
Like an acceptance award,
house.
You got to wrap it up, I'm afraid. They're playing you off.
I'd like to thank the Academy and my mom for always believing in me.
Check out the Townie Awards on the K92.3 app or website, K923.fm. Here's your in the morning on the mighty K92.3, the Cedar Valley's #1 for new country. Today would be the 89th birthday of one Johnny Cash, if he were still with us. Born on this day in 1932. We lost him in 2003, sadly. But yeah, happy posthumous birthday.
It's also the 68th birthday of the great Michael Bolton.
Oh, God.
Don't forget about Michael Bolton,
Nobody's
Johnny.
ever put the great before Michael Bolton.
Carrie, do you know who Michael Bolton is? You look...
Was that the guy with the dogs?
No. He was on Dancing with the Stars. Otherwise, he's...
He was? I didn't know that.
Oh, it was embarrassing. Otherwise, he's... what would you call him? A soft singer? I don't know.
Yeah, he did a cover of When a Man Loves a Woman in the early 90s. He was a very romantic but had a screechy vocal sound. He wasn't a bad singer, but man, he was a lady killer, we'll say.
There you go.
Oh, well, he's killed me so hard that I don't even know who he is.
You are dead.
He was popular for like 5 years or so, maybe a decade.
He had a short run.
Yeah, but people still know who he is, except for Carrie. You're too young.
I've heard he's very arrogant. Very arrogant.
Well, I've heard that he's very arrogant too, Johnny. From a very reliable source, and that source is you.
Okay, there you go. I tend to think I'm reliable.
Sometimes.
Earlier we were talking about, intern Skyscraper and I were talking about how we'd always heard James Corden was kind of a jerk. And Carrie's like, I've never heard that. So sometimes rumors spread and people don't know where they come from.
See, and I hate to hear things like that because I think James Corden seems like a nice guy, but...
He does,
but
and he's funny.
You have to remember, we don't know these people. We just see them on TV or movies, but they're their own person.
Yeah, you do hear stories sometimes. Usually, not always, but usually they come from somebody who's not famous, like a hairstylist or a grip or a sound guy. You remember when, I was going to say Matt Damon. It wasn't Matt Damon. What was Christian Bale? He blew up on the set of the Terminator movie, and it got out. And then Tom Cruise did it like 3 months ago. That one I had a little more sympathy for because he was talking about COVID and shutting down the movie. But when Christian Bale blew up on the light guy and it got out, it was like, whoa, that kind of language?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine any other line of work? I challenge, no, never mind. I don't challenge you. I hypothetically challenge you in front of people, even if the audio doesn't get out. There are other people there. Nobody should be yelled at like that, even if they did screw him. And a lot of people said the guy was a doof that walked into the set or they were filming an emotional scene. But still, it's like, come on, man. You're an actor. You get paid to do a second, third, fourth, fifth take.
The key word would be professional. You're a professional.
That's a good
You need
word.
to act like it.
Yeah.
I get it. You lose your temper at times. I mean, but still.
See, I have that word written on my business card. So just in case.
It doesn't say your profession, just says professional.
It does, and it's spelled wrong, which is really
It has a Z in it. You hand it out anytime you get really mad. Like, I am a professional.
Yeah. It's Marks in the Morning. We've got Weird News Rodeo on the way here in about 8 minutes on the show. You'll have a chance to hear a strange news story that happened somewhere in the world, probably Florida. And Howard Dean is also part of that. It's the whip and the dean. That's what separates it from a weird news story from any other radio station. We were talking about this earlier, too. There's a new restaurant coming to Cedar Falls right off of Main Street that I'm very excited about. I love the idea of a new restaurant. I also love the idea of talking about a new restaurant as we're trying to take the sprint out of the pandemic here, not just walk out of it, but sprint out of it. I'm going to have more info on this. It's going to be called Stone and Terrace, an indoor-outdoor restaurant. Obviously, this time of year, you'd not be outside, but it'll be on 4th Street. So it's Main Street in Cedar Falls, but when you go down the street by Maid-Right there's the Maid-Right, and then there's the Whiskey Road, and the Derringers and all that on the other side. That's where it'll go.
Okay.
It's where Santa, kids will know. Kids will be like, Santa. That's where Santa's workshop is every Christmas time.
They're getting rid of Santa's workshop?
They're going to move it. Well,
No, they're canceling Christmas. Breaking news, they're canceling Christmas.
they're not canceling
You can't
Christmas.
move the North Pole.
Make it norther.
It's going to move. Yeah, it's going to move slightly north. We'll have more info on that on our app in a little bit. Don't worry. Santa will still be there. All right, it's Marks in the Morning rolling on with morning. It's time for Weird News Rodeo. I hit this button here. There we go. First day, everybody.
I like how you have a dedicated button just for the whip.
I do. I have 2 buttons dedicated on this show for one silly thing. One is the whip sound effect, and the other one is my microphone button. Both unnecessary when you really think about it. All right, JP, what's our weird news story this morning?
You mentioned that it probably comes from Florida, but it's a little bit closer to home, as in the city of Indianola in Iowa.
What? We've got an Iowa weird news rodeo story?
This is a good one, and it's on the K92.3 app.
Okay.
A woman who is from the city of Indianola had a water main break back in December.
Sure.
And it was repaired, but the street itself was only filled with dirt. Because if this happens, usually they got to dig it up, and this was in December, so it was probably hard to repave it. They were going to wait till spring. So she made calls to the city, no effect. Road is still a mess, so she got frustrated, and she had an idea to bring a little bit more focus to the issue and some humor as well. She put a group of skeletons in the giant holes in the road, adjusting their arms to make it look like they're working on the street itself. So a skeleton crew, she calls it.
Smart.
And now these skeletons have their own Facebook page. It's called The Adventures of Skeleton, Jim, and Crew. Now, we have the photos on the K92.3 app, but there's even a backstory as well. The main skeleton is named Jim, and the other skeletons are searching for him. He went missing. So they have this whole story up on their Facebook page, which we have a link to that also on our K92.3 app. One of the skeletons is adjusted so it looks like it's raking. Another one has its body completely sunk into the dirt in the road. So she's trying to get a little more action, I guess, to the attention on this road to get it fixed. And it sounds like there's a disagreement on the cost between the city and the road crew that's supposed to fix it. So that's why it's taking so long.
You're right. They just left it all torn up. This one is butt over head there.
I know. I can't tell what's going on. It looks like its head might be completely buried into the dirt.
I think that
its skull.
Right.
But
there's people watching. That's funny.
It's very humorous, and she could have completely gone the other route, as Carrie would say, and raised a stink about this, go full-blown Karen, but she's having some fun with this, and there's thousands of people following this on Facebook.
It's pretty good. And the skeletons look like they're having a good old time out there now that the weather's warmed up. So there you have it, the skeleton crew in Iowa. No bones about it. Check it out. It's a good story. And we'll be back on Mark's in the Morning. Is that it for the bone jokes? Come on, somebody else has to have a skeleton
I don't want to
joke.
tickle your funny bone too much.
Hang on, let me... dedicated button. Sorry, Carrie.
That's okay. JP's is more important.
No, JP's dedicated button.
I barely have theme music for the things I do. I have like some mariachi band playing.
I feel like all the kids are complaining.
He gets a whip. I don't get a whip. Also, what I think is so funny is when we play the whip, you always go like, yeah, like someone's hitting you and you like it.
You guys should be more like the skeletons. Nothing gets under their skin.
I don't have the guts.
There we go. That's all right. We'll be back in a moment. It's Mark's in the Morning. Shouldn't ask for more jokes, right? News, weather, and Tim McGraw on the way. Morning is on K92.3. Chris Young has at least one big famous friend, Kane Brown. It's on that song with him. It's Mark's in the Morning. It's 9:36. JP's playing with his microphone.
We had this problem months ago where it was
twisting.
It's loose. It just flies around on its own.
I have a bad feeling that one will fall off.
Yeah, I'm going to not toy with it anymore.
Radio people like to every radio DJ is a little different, but every radio person I've ever worked with will do things with their mic while they talk. I do. I know you do. You like to.
Yeah, you hold on to yours. Like I'm always moving it around.
I always have to have a pen in my hand or I have to be holding my microphone. I think every radio station has the same type of microphone, more or less. Yours is a little different than ours. I won't get into what kind. That's boring for most people, but they all come and they're all in like part of a case so they don't make a lot of noise. When you're on the air, they float, they dangle, they can be jostled. But I've managed to make this one make some noise this morning.
I've had problems because it's got that main screw that you just tightened where I've been in the middle of an on-air break and the microphone will physically fall off onto my lap into a big clunk. I mean, it's happened probably a dozen times over my life.
I would love to see that / hear it. That would be interesting.
It's the magic of live radio.
You guys want to play a game? Do you want to do snake oil salesman?
I don't. No.
All right. JP's off the show.
I'm doing it.
So let me explain the game very quick. It's very easy, especially as a listener. We each get two cards. The two cards are just random words, single solitary words. And we have to, on the fly, pitch a product based on those two words. And I think I've got the cards right here. The only thing is we haven't played this game in so long, I can't remember who's doing the judging this time. Carrie's sneezing over here.
I could see your face. I'm like, did I pass gas? Because it looked like you were curling up at the face. I'm like, I don't think that was me.
The two cards I pulled. Gas test. No. How about this, Carrie? Since you're over there sneezing away, why don't you be the judge? And JP and I will pitch our products.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first, James?
You can have the honors this morning, sir.
Right. Before we get started here, let me get music ready, because once I look at the cards, that's another thing. Once we look at the cards, you got to go very quickly. You can't just sit around and think about it.
And how much time do we have? 30 seconds?
You can go up to 30 seconds.
Okay.
You can go less if you need, but it's just like a commercial.
Oh, this is going to make me laugh. You guys make me laugh so hard when you do this. Mine are always so bad.
Well, and Johnny and I both admitted to each other we're all hyped up on caffeine this morning.
We are.
Yeah.
I got sponge sauce. Sponge sauce. I'm going to go that route. You can reverse it if you want, but I'm going to go with sponge sauce. Yeah, let me get music here for sponge sauce. I'll turn this down. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's sponge sauce. Your kids like SpongeBob. Well, now there's sponge sauce they can play with. The dishes get clean and they get saucy at the same time. Your kids won't touch the broccoli, will they? They will with sponge sauce. It'll just sauce up that broccoli and clean the plate. Mom, your kids will clean the plate too. Sponge sauce comes in 3 delicious flavors. Spongy, extra spongy, more spongy. And that's my 30 seconds. I don't have my buzzer, but that's my 30 seconds.
That was good.
There it is.
I would probably buy that.
Would you buy sponge sauce from the makers of orangutan sauce?
Oh, no.
All right, I'll move those cards out of the way.
Oh, no.
There you go, JP. I'm going to give you that. So JP has to come up with his commercial on the fly for...
Smile Mop.
Smile Mop! Yay! It's Smile Mop. Do you want... these are both similar products, I think.
Yeah, maybe I should draw a different card.
You want to draw a different one? You go right ahead.
Jeez. Okay, here we go. Pimple shampoo.
All right, sir. Well, what kind of music do you want for pimple shampoo?
You surprise me.
Okay, here we go.
If you give me mariachi music again.
No mariachi.
Da, 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 da.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a pizza face?
Huh?
Do you need to clean it off? And your rough edge shampoo just doesn't do justice? Try Pimple shampoo. Poo, poo, poo. Pimple shampoo is made of ox milk. You put it on your face, scrub it with sponge sauce, and cross promoting.
Yep.
And pimple shampoo will not only get the pimples and zits off your face, your skin will come off as well.
There you go. Your face is coming off. What parent?
Do you like how I use sponge sauce as well?
I like the tie-in.
Yeah, cross-promoting.
I love the tie-in.
I think we're owned by the same company, though. So
I would assume so. And same with Fun Mop or whatever the other one you pulled out.
Smile Mop.
Smile Mop. Well, Carrie, the decision comes down to you. I think those were both great products.
We didn't give out prices, though. I think that's our downfall.
Can I get the price? I feel like that would help me judge.
Well, for sponge, what was mine again?
Pimple
Sponge
shampoo is on sale now for $2.99 for 16 ounces.
Okay.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Sponge sauce, one sponge will run you $3.99, but the deluxe sponge sauce that I didn't quite get to in my commercial is $5.99.
That's the next commercial.
That one's for teenagers. It magically makes them, more pleasant to deal with.
I have to go with Johnny's sponge sauce.
Sponge sauce.
Yeah, I don't fault you for that.
I thought they were both great, and that was a lot of fun. It's called Snake Oil. It's a real game. We didn't just pull those cards out of nowhere. I don't know where you'll find it because I had to buy it online like 10 years ago. But it's a fun game, so if you do find it, it's good for all ages. Very creative. There are some cards in there, though, just FYI, that we won't read on the air. We'll be back in a couple minutes with your last Nashville News Minute of the week and Chris Stapleton. Next.